You think you know all there is to know about horror movies? Well, instead of talking about it, why don't you prove it? Grab your phone and visit app.horrorpubtrivia.com. Try your hand at the best collection of horror movie trivia on the internet. The best thing about it is it's totally free. app.horrorpubtrivia.com.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode 15 of Empire of the Full Moon. Empire of the Full Moon is the show where I, Mike Cadaver, dig into the films of Charlie Band, whether they be from Full Moon Features, Empire Pictures, or basically anything Charles Band has his fingerprints on. So you'll notice that over the weeks that I've been doing this, I try to go from older to newer, kind of mix it up and not get stuck too much on a basically just one era of the Full Moon or Empire Pictures set. I want to kind of go back and forth, and so I figured this time let's do a brand new movie. And we're not talking like new, it came out in the mid-2000s. We're talking about Full Moon features from the last couple of years, and I have done a couple of those, one being Quadrant and one being Death Streamer. But here's one called Bring Her to Me from 2023, and I figured I'd talk about that for a minute. Before I get into the movie itself, though, there are a couple of things about this movie that I noticed that I just kind of want to mention. I noticed this before I even started watching the movie, so it was kind of like, I found interesting. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let's think about these as the film goes along. First of all, the running time of this movie, it's under 56 minutes. So that's a little crazy because it's just barely longer than what I would consider to be a short. I mean, I'm always of the opinion that it's better to have a shorter film if you don't have any interesting material to add. Like, don't give me any fluff, give me the meat. So as I started this, I'm like, well, maybe this has got nothing but meat, so let's go. I'm into that. Second, the filming location, it was filmed in a place called The Escarpment, which is basically a studio for rent in Los Angeles. It has 40,000 square feet of studio space where you can rent equipment and anything like that. And this was released in September 23. So it was probably filmed late 2022, early 23, but I find it interesting because it was, by this point, Charles Band already owned the home in Cleveland and still chose to film here. But my guess is that this movie literally has 4 characters, and it actually has a voice of a coffee shop manager coming from the back room, which I assume is probably the director or just somebody else walking around on the set. So basically, and only three, well, maybe, I don't know, it depends, 3 to 5 locations, but we'll talk about those in a minute. So maybe it was just real cheap. It was quick to do, and so basically they're just like, hey, let's just do this real quick. Let's rent this place out for a day or two and do that. So before we get into talking about it, why don't we play a trailer for it and come right back to talk about it.
They started a while ago. I feel myself drifting into the darkness. I keep having this dream over and over each night.
Dreaming of somebody special?
Somebody or something.
Mara, you haven't been yourself lately.
These just feel like something more than bad dreams.
I don't know much about dreams or even how to begin interpreting them, but I do know somebody who does. Let me introduce you to Miss Abigail Firth.
The only way you will stop these dreams is to see it through. See it through to the end.
He sees you. He sees you.
I want to help you, my dear. And I can only do that if you just
Fall asleep! Bring her to me. I have craved you more than anyone. Soon we will be as one.
Then you shall have me.
Bring her to me!
All right, everybody, this is Bring Her to Me from 2023. IMDb has this at a 3.7 currently. It was directed by a guy named Brooks Davis. And Brooks, just like many other guys that work with Charlie Band, he is a full moon guy. He directed The Gingerweed Man. He wrote The Gingerweed Man, but he's done a ton of work for Charles Band, meaning he's done a lot of editing. For instance, Video Zones for The Barbara and Kendra. He also directed those. Quadrant, he did the Video Zone for. He edited famous TNA 2, which I have not seen. It has Darcy the Mail Girl. I guess, I'm not even sure what that is. Would it be really shocking if Charles Band had a movie that Darcy the Mail Girl just showed nudie parts of movies? I don't think that would shock anybody on the planet, including me, because it does not surprise me at all. He also directed the production of the first Church of Chills that came out last fall. Let's see, he directed and edited behind the scenes of Quadrant, the Joe Bob screening, which is kind of a fun one, which is kind of one of the reasons why I really like what Charles Band is doing, because not only is he making these films, but he's doing a lot of stuff with the fans and people who like his stuff. And he'll film that. He'll do a lot of fun little things like this Joe Bob screening, where he had a couple fans come in and came to his house and did a screening of Quadrant with Charles Band and Joe Bob. And then afterwards they had a discussion about it, and it was really cool. Anyways, he does all the edits of the episodes of the Full Moon Freak Show. Oh, sorry, I missed my point. My point is that there's all this stuff that they do, and they put it on the streaming channel. So it's like we get the movies, and we also get all this stuff where he's connecting with the fans, stuff like that. Like, I really like Church of Chills because I thought it was fun. He came out and just did that. Anyways, all that stuff. Anyways, this is not the episode for my love for behind the scenes from Charles Band. But I digress. Charles Band wrote this with Brooks Davis and Kent Rodebush. And if you're a big Full Moon fan, you will recognize Kent Rodebush's name. He wrote a bunch of stuff post-2010 for Full Moon. I'll just name a few, but these are not nearly all of them. A bunch of Barbara and Kendra things. Murderbot from 2023, which I saw, which is kind of a weird one. I think it's a Chopping Mall kind of. It has to do with that one a little bit. And I think, I can't remember his name right now, but he directed it as well. Oh, I'm going to have to look at that. I'll put the name on there on the thing because it's ridiculous that I don't remember. Jim Wynorski. I got it. But so he did that, and it was kind of a fun one. Wrote Sorority Babes and the Slimeball Bolorama from 2022, because that was part 2. Some Evil Bong sequels, Attack of the Giant, the 50-Foot Cam Girl, Giantess Battle Attack, and on and on and on. Okay, so this movie starred Bec Doyle as Mara. Now, she's been in a few things over the past 15 years or so. I think she's mostly known, though, for being an Instagram influencer, I guess model. Like, I always liked the meme that said, oh, you're a model on Instagram? Well, I'm an army guy on Call of Duty. I don't know how that goes anyways. But I did notice a movie called American Satan, which stars Andy Biersack from my daughter's great, awesome band that she loves, but I can't remember the name of it right now because it's good. It's daughter metal, but anyway, so she was in that. She was in, and I remember thinking, oh dang, she had like I think she was like a reporter or something like that. So it also starred Kalond Irlanda as Raziel, Roslyn Gentle as Abigail, Emerson Niemczek is the demon, and that's it. 4 people. And like I said, except for the one guy whose voice you hear in the back of a coffee shop. Okay, the plot. Simple, straightforward. Story follows Mara, who's dealing with a recurring nightmare where she's taken to a dark realm inhabited by a demonic entity. When she wakes, she's drained of all energy, as if the demon is taking it from her. Seeking relief, she turns to her friend Raziel, who introduces her to a dream interpreter named Abigail. They do a few sessions with Mara, and Mara's put to so basically they go over to her house. Mara's put to sleep, and Raziel and Abigail observe. But as Mara delves deeper into her subconscious, the boundaries between dreams and reality blur, revealing that those around her may not be who they seem, and the demon may have some sexy ideas for Mara. Who are these friends who are trying to help Mara overcome this dream blight? Who are the puppet master in the background causing all of this? What are the chances you see a big-ass plate of cocaine being offered freely to Mara? Find out by watching Bring Her to Me from 2023. Okay, So you might disagree with me on this, but I think, and I've talked about a few of these movies, so I feel like this is kind of an obvious thing that I don't necessarily need to state. But I think for the last 5 or 6 years, Full Moon have been doing a great job. It's a great era for Full Moon features. The budgets, I mean, they're probably nothing compared to the glory days of their partnership with Paramount Pictures from 1988 to about 1995. But it clearly seems like the company has gotten a lot more ambitious. I mean, with a lot of movies, like I just got another 10-pack of Blu-rays as part of a collection that he put out, and we have Bad CGI Gator. We got Amy, the Visitor. We even have what was that other one? But I mean, it's just I think it's one that goes like this. Anyways, it's a very similar movie to this, to be honest with you. Anyway, I think that they were doing their thing. The shot in the arm came when, in my opinion, when the Deadly Ted started production. I talked about that on an earlier episode. Unfortunately, we know what happened with that. COVID took over. But once production resumed, it seems like they've had a renewed energy, and they've just been kind of kicking stuff out. To be honest with you, it's been great. I've really enjoyed it. Obviously, this is one of the movies from the last 5 years. It's obvious that Brooks Davis has a great eye. I mean, I assume it comes with being like a multi-talented filmmaker. I mean, he's editing, he's directing, he's doing all sorts of stuff. So it's like, I feel like a lot of when editors direct movies, they can kind of like look at it as they're filming and say, here's what I'm going to do with the edit. And so it kind of goes the same way. I mean, I don't know if it's always true or always a good thing, but I feel like that's a pretty safe bet. Because the movie looks great. I mean, it's very clear, maybe sometimes a little bit daytime drama-y, but I think it's great. The cast is pretty good. There are a couple times during the film where I wondered if whoever wrote it knew how human beings actually talk to each other. So it's like there's a couple weird things like that, but other than that, it's pretty good. Very simple. Let's see. So I said there were 3 locations, or 5. We got the coffee shop, we have the apartment, we have the Hell Dimension, which kind of looked like a haunted attraction scene around Halloween time. They filmed a little bit in front of the escarpment, which is cool because you can look up the escarpment on Google Maps, and you can actually see the spots where outside they filmed some of this stuff. So it was cool. And there's also some drone shots over LA at night, and it's funny because you have a flying bed as Mara's being taken to the dream world, or where the demonic being waits for her. Anyways, they didn't spend any money on the opening credits, though. It was kind of cheap looking, but I'm glad they put it elsewhere in the movie. And speaking of daytime television quality, I think that some of the soundtrack did that a little bit for me too, but I digress. I said that twice. That's my new thing, apparently. I feel like Bec Doyle as Mara is the draw here. She's like super pretty, and you just want to keep your eyes on her because, I mean, looking at her, you're just like, oh my gosh, wow, okay, cool. She does a great job, especially with her interactions with the demon in the Hell Dimension, or the Hell World, Dream World, whatever it was. But the demon guy was hamming it up, having a great old time, being totally like dramatic, and she was kind of, in there, and it was kind of fun to watch. I mean, there was I got a couple of chuckles out of that, but because he was just trying to be so evil and demonic, but it was fun. So I've heard this movie be compared to Meridian because maybe there's a little bit of erotic romance horror into it, and I get it. There is that. I mean, you have Mara hanging out with the demon and getting a little sexy on it, but in my opinion, it doesn't really have the backstory to match Meridian. I think that Meridian is a lot deeper of a movie, and obviously it was in a different era. I think the resources were different back then, and I think that this one is just I feel like this was kind of just meant to be like a 4-person, 1 or 2 day shoot. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was more. I don't know what I'm talking about. So if I'm wrong about that and somebody got their feelings hurt, I am dumb. So don't listen to me. But it is definitely erotic horror. I mean, you got Doyle, who's Mara, or Bec Doyle, who plays Mara, is just super sultry. And like I said, t-shirt and panties, and you get to see some of the goodies, if you know what I mean. But yeah, she's great, and she does a bunch of weird, fun stuff with the demon. Definitely some familiar horror conceits in this film. I think the most obvious being the hag cackle, because it's like, why do evil people decide that they just need to cackle like that and look around and it's like, oh, is something funny? Are you laughing? Are you mocking us? What's going on? Anyways, but also there's a character in here that's bandaged and kind of looks like so I watched the Video Zone, and they said it's a mixture between Castle Freak and Darkman. So yeah, that makes perfect sense. But there's one time where they're observing Mara as she sleeps, and he's just like, hey, wow, brother. Okay, cool. That's fun. Just kind of an overacting Igor type of thing. Cringy, but like I said, it's pretty fun. I love that even on these newer movies, the behind the scenes keep the name The Video Zone and opens up with the same music and all that stuff. It's always pretty cool watching the video zones with the that fun music, the nostalgic music if you're an old guy like me. But it's always fun, and Charles Band was the first one to do it, so all the credit goes to him. He rules, but we already all knew that. All in all, this movie didn't blow me away. I do have the Blu-ray. It's up there, and it's too late for me to grab it, or else I'll knock one of my lights over or something like that. It didn't blow me away, but I enjoyed it. Worth a watch. Had a lot of fun with it. With the Video Zone, was fun to watch. Like I said, got the Blu-ray, but I got it as part of the Demons and Monsters collection that was released a month and a half ago, and that was the box set that I was talking about just a minute ago. It's $50 for 10 Blu-rays, and I think he only made 100 of them, and I actually just, it's still on its way, but I picked up, he did another thing, 10 Blu-rays, $50, another set of Full Moon Blu-rays, and I'm pumped for that one to show up at my doorstep, but alas, I must wait. Anyways, that's really all I got. Check it out. It's fun. Bec Doyle is amazingly hot, and she is good to watch in it, and I don't know, I feel like that's what really made me interested in this in the first place. Anyway, so please subscribe, will you? Tell your friends about the channel, have them subscribe, comment, whatever the real people who actually do YouTube do. I pretend I'm saying that because they seem to know what they're doing. It would be cool. But also, if you want to see anything else that I've got going on, go check it out at corpsecollective.com. You can find my podcast, some horror trivia stuff. Obviously, you saw the ad for the app that I put together for online horror trivia. Reviews, articles, check it out. Until next time, I will catch you later.